Hey guys, how's it going? It's the Crypto Analyst here, and I hope all of you guys are having a good morning, evening, wherever you guys are from. And welcome to the Crypto Analyst live stream. Now, I know you guys are thinking it's been a while. I have been on YouTube probation for a couple of months now, but we are back. I'm able to live stream again, so we're going to start these segments back up. I got a lot of things to do. I just was realizing my description, my title for all these, they're all messed up. So we're probably going to have to change this. But yeah, let's go ahead and get this back up, making sure everything's running smoothly, and give everyone a second to join in here while I while I get the rest of this all set up. So we're going to be talking about, of course, everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency related. We're going to be going through some technical analysis of most of the mainstream coins and how it works. Really just my thoughts on the current market right now, because a lot of people have been asking me to update the live stream since I'm able now. And yeah, so that's what we're going to go ahead and do. Now, I'm not currently back at my apartment yet. I'm still home with the family for Christmas, but I will be back up there soon, and that's when we're actually going to start dishing out these live streams on a pretty consistent schedule. So as I am finishing up the settings for this, we'll be pretty much set. Just got to make sure everything is in place so that we're all good. I think we are. Perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and reset ourselves over here. Change the title over here. Bitcoin Technical Analysis. Let's go ahead and change this to a live. Cool. So welcome for those of you guys who are joining in now. We're just getting this started off. It's been a while, I know. But we're going to be doing a technical analysis of Bitcoin and everything else that is to come. Again, it's been a while, but there's some really cool stuff happening on Bitcoin right now. That we're going to be talking about fib retracements, especially because fib retracements have been such a huge and crucial part of this cryptocurrency trading in here. As you know, we're going to break down and look at, but it has been a crucial part. And if you know how to do fib retracements, then you're going to absolutely love what we're going to be talking about in this segment over here. So I do need to go ahead over to the channel and make sure that this goes out to the Discord server and on social media, so that everyone has a chance to go ahead and join in here and get a link. But give me a... Oop, that is the wrong thing. But other than that, I'm going to go ahead and post this stuff, and then we'll get right on into some technical analysis over here. But it's been a while, man. Another thing I have to do is I have to go ahead and find out some sort of music or something I want to play in the background over here. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and post this on our Twitter, and I think we'll be fine, honestly. How are you guys doing as chat's starting to get up and people are starting to roll in here, guys? I hope you guys are enjoying. Again, this is going to start off here in a second, but I'm going to make sure I have this chat up so I can read everything. Okay, top chat, live chat. There we go. Can someone go ahead and say something in chat just to make sure that this is working all right? And then, I guess if chat and all is working, then we can go ahead and get right on into this. Alright, yeah, I guess first things first, we are going to go ahead and post this on Twitter. And then we should be fine here. I'm having a little bit of trouble typing this in. And we're good to go. All right, so first things first, guys. Bitcoin. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. First things first, as everyone's joining, welcome everybody. Of course, my name is Brendan, otherwise known as the Crypto Analyst. Welcome to those of you guys who are new. Welcome to those of you guys who are reoccurring. I appreciate it. We're going to be doing some breakdown of Bitcoin right now, and I figured, you know, why do a why just do a stagnant video when I could do this Bitcoin technical analysis? You guys can watch it back, but you guys can also talk to me live, ask your questions, learn some technical analysis, because that's what this is all about. You know, we're here to learn, we're here to get better, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. So first things first, guys, I want to go ahead and break down these fib levels. This is something I've been talking about in the Patreon. I was breaking down how to use fibs. I was actually talking to one of the Patrons about it today. We were essentially talking over how to use fibs correctly and why it was so crucial in this level. If you know how to do fib retracements, then how you were basically setting yourself up for success. And that's exactly what we're going to break down on the live stream now that we've gone over it in the Patreon. So first things first, guys, when we had this, we measured this as if it was a giant falling wedge. The breakout, of course, we can go ahead and draw this line of resistance over here back, saying, hey, this is the breakout from the falling wedge. Originally, we had our fib retracements from swing low to swing high of the falling wedge. Now we're having it from our swing low to swing high, or excuse me, swing low to swing high all the way over here. So that's exactly what we have. We have our bottom of our fib retracement. We have the top of our fib retracement. And then this is where it starts getting interesting, because this is where you really start seeing these fib retracements come into effect over here. Now, as we've broken down, we have, of course, we've seen a lot of support over here from the 50% retracement line. Bounce it, come right back up, bounce on it again, come right down, touch the 618 as we talked about in my previous technical analysis of Bitcoin, and then use this as support just like we thought it would, and then shot all the way back up, perfectly touched the 236, now perfectly falling right back down to the 50% retracement once again, and now we're going right back up. And we are, well, we're on our way right now, so we actually have to zoom in a little bit, but we're looking at this from the 1 hour. So again, fib retracements are playing an absolutely crucial part in what's been happening in the price action of Bitcoin. And before this, when we had the fib retracement of just our falling wedge, it was also playing equally as big of a part. But now now that we have new information, we had to adjust the fib retracement, and so this is what we have now. So one thing I want to address, guys, is what a lot of people have been talking about is the inverse head and shoulders that we've been seeing on Bitcoin over here. And one more thing, yeah, I forgot, we don't have a face cam. Usually, guys, we have the face cam. If you guys have been here for a while, usually we have the face cam. But again, I'm not at my normal setup. I'm home with some family for Christmas, but when we get back, we'll have face cam. We'll have the whole normal setup back there with the green screen and all. But I do want to go ahead and point out this inverse head and shoulders that everyone's essentially been talking about over here. So first things first, guys, if we're going to go, 1, 2, there's our head, or there's our shoulder, head, shoulder over here. So we're going to have to adjust this just a little bit so that it connects. But this is exactly what I mean. So you can essentially see this without our little doodly draws over here. But what this is showing is that, of course, you are going down here, getting left shoulder over here, head, and then possibly a right shoulder in this area. And if this is the case, of course, you would expect the price to rise and then go a whole lot further than this, probably up to around $5,000, maybe even over $5,000 if this was to break out. Now, is that going to be the case? I'm still not sure, because I think you're having a lot of conflicting divergence here, and I think this is where it starts getting difficult, because your TA is starting to get a little bit off from what the head and shoulders should play out to be. I'm going to go ahead and read their comments here. Tanvar says, hi, hey, what's up, Tanvar? Great to have you in here, my man. Bob, great to have you. Hopefully more than 10K, hopefully 10K more than 3K. Hey, I completely agree. But we're actually going to be talking about, I'm going to make a separate video, a separate stagnant video talking about my 2019 Bitcoin predictions and cryptocurrency predictions in general. We're going to be doing a couple of prediction videos. It seems like the majority was saying do some prediction videos, so that's exactly what we're going to do. But we're also going to be talking about a little bit of predictions in this live stream as well as how these formations can play out. What do you think the next move of BTC, up or down? So that's actually what we're talking about right now. So coincidentally enough, that works out. So yeah, so this is what we're talking. Inverse head and shoulders is obviously a very bullish thing. This is a slanted inverse head and shoulders. As you can see, it is slanted, so it's a little bit different. It's a little bit funky, but you can see that this comes down, V's very nicely for your left shoulder, comes down, a little bit of a sloppy V for your head, and now coming down, and we're V'ing up now for our right shoulder. Now, is this going to play out? It's a little bit of a meme right now, because a lot of people are talking about everyone is essentially talking about this and how this is going to play out and how this is going to rocket us all the way back up to resistance, like we've talked about, of this giant falling wedge that we're in. So that put us at resistance at around $5,400. Now, the measured move of this would not put us up to that range, but it would put us pretty close. So I would, essentially, people are counting on that the breakout, along with maybe some FOMO or some news, could probably put us up to that level. It's entirely possible. If we're going to go look at our 1 day, zoom us in here a little bit, we can see that we're still below all of our EMAs, our 50 and our 200 MAs and EMAs. So again, up in this range, you're gonna start having resistance, and that's something that we have not even tested yet from this level. We came very close up here, but we still haven't tested that, and as long as we're sitting under these, it's gonna be a problem. And another thing that I was talking about, one of the biggest problems, this is what I was talking about in the Discord earlier today, and this is, if you guys want to join, the link for that is in the description below. The biggest problem with cryptocurrency right now is that you're still failing to get a higher high in every swing high that we've had. And so I'm going to go ahead and delete this now that we know what the inverse head and shoulders would look like. The biggest problem with crypto right now is that you're avoiding and you're still not getting consistent high. You're not even getting a single higher high on any of your charts. So let's go ahead and zoom in here and look at this before we start getting into some actual break it down technical analysis. But you have failed consistently ever since we swung up to the top. You have failed to get a higher high in every single scenario, even here, every time we break it down, consistently failing to make higher highs. And I don't think that this is going to change over here. Now, I could be wrong, but I think we're going to continue to keep getting lower highs until we actually break over here. And now this is going to start leading into some of the predictions for 2019. I think we're going to bottom out in 2019, and I mean that by saying that we are going to have something lower than what we've already seen over here. I don't believe this is going to be the bottom. I think 2019 we are going to bottom out, but we're not at that point yet. We are not strong enough yet. It's not ready to go on to this moon cycle again. It's not ready to enter into a bull market. You're going to have a consolidation period, and you're going to have something that is not acting essentially like this. Like, this is great, and we're starting to see the bulls come back a little bit, and we're starting to see these rallies towards the upsides, but it's essentially just not enough at this point. You're gonna take some more time. You're gonna I just saw what's up in chat. Josh, welcome everyone. Comedic gamer, welcome, dude. I know you. For my employee who barely is getting into Bitcoin, what do you recommend him buy and how much? So I can't tell anyone what to buy or how much or where to invest their money legally. But if I was barely getting into cryptocurrency, I would recommend using Coinbase. There's a link in the description. You can scroll down there and just sign up with it. It's easy. I would recommend using Coinbase if you're from the United States. It's the easiest way to get cryptocurrency today from fiat into crypto. What would I recommend? So the big thing is I would recommend that he does some research. He finds out what kind of altcoins that he likes, and then he mixes and he diversifies his portfolio between Bitcoin and at least a couple of the altcoins. I think everybody should own some Bitcoin. I own a good amount of Bitcoin. I don't own an entire Bitcoin yet. That's like currently a series I'm doing, actually. If you guys are in the Discord, I've been talking about it. I'm going from 0.001 Bitcoin all the way up to 1 Bitcoin, and that's something I'm currently doing. But currently, you know, if I had to diverse myself to say 5 cryptocurrencies from nothing, if I was just getting into it, I remember the first cryptocurrency I owned was well, of course it was Bitcoin. Then it was XRP, was the first altcoin I owned. If I had to diverse myself between 5 cryptocurrencies, I would do it between Bitcoin, EOS, XRP, Cardano. What is that? That's 4, right? EOS, XRP, Cardano, Bitcoin. You know, let's go ahead and pull up CoinMarketCap. Man, that's going to be a hard one to cut some of these out for 5th place. Then maybe a lower market cap coin, honestly. So maybe something a little bit lower market cap, like Amise Go or BAT, or possibly even something even lower would be like Encash. Maybe something like that. But I would diversify it between, you know, high market cap and low market caps. Just find projects that you believe in and that you like, and move yourself from there. And that's one of the biggest things that I had to do is experiment. Ethereum. Yeah, I own a little bit of Ethereum. It's not my favorite, but I think EOS is just a better version of Ethereum. That's just what it comes down to for me. But man, I totally forgot what we were talking about over here. We're basically talking about consistent higher highs and higher lows, and how Bitcoin's consistently failed to do that over here. But let's go ahead and break this down. Let's go ahead and pull out the 1-hour chart and do a little bit of technical analysis about what's actually happening in the price action of Bitcoin currently, instead of what's been happening, because everyone's interested in what's going to happen now instead of what's going to happen in a month, or what's happened in the past 6 months, because everyone knows essentially that. So let's go ahead and draw up some resistances And now originally I was saying something like this in the Patreon, saying, hey, you could have something like a falling wedge actually getting into place over here, because you have one touch point, two, now three, now four. This actually broke through. It's a piercing candle. Now it's back. So you could even just keep this as it is. If it really bugged you, you can adjust this to over here. It doesn't change anything. I mean, it's still a falling wedge no matter really how you adjust this at this point. But regardless, you're still in this area. Now you're bouncing again from the 50% retracement mark on your fib. And sorry, comments are flying. MJ works easy. Nice to have you in here. No shit coins, Bitcoin all the way. And for diversification, a bit of Ethereum and XRP. So yeah, again, I am not an XRP fanboy, FY. Yeah, so neither am I. I'm the same way. I don't fanboy over any of the altcoins. I just believe in diversification and risk management. And that's why I think believing in long-term assets and long-term projects that you believe in, I don't really see a problem in buying some of that. We actually might have a double top forming. This candle just started, and actually we do. That was perfect. Wow. So look at this. So let's go ahead and break this down a little bit. So over here now, what we have forming is a classic double top. Now this isn't a tweezer double top. This is just a class A, your typical double top over here, and you can tell because it's flat, leveled right off. Just like as if nothing was here. It's imagine you just got a knife and you cut it through hot butter. That's exactly what we're seeing over here. And in fact, you have no wicks above this. You have no candles above these. The fact that these are symmetrically even is what's so essential about this double top, and that's exactly what you see play out. So now, if you can get the candle body close like this, then it would be a very, very bearish thing to see. And if I was trading at the moment, if I was live trading, this would probably be an area to short, because again, over here, what do we see? We had a double top over here. We had a pretty steep fall from all the way from 36.90 or 36, what is that? 36.30, 36.39, all the way down to 3,600 even. So a little bit of a drop. Again, if you're leverage trading, then this is the kind of stuff that you want to look for. Again, over here, double top. Let's go ahead and try to find some other examples. Now, it is not as significant on the 1 hour. I would recommend looking at double tops and stuff like that on the 4 hour. Way more significant, way more impactful. I've done a segment on those in the Patreon as well. But a guy I know does OTC sales told me his sales are booming. So why is Bitcoin still struggling? Because OTC sales can be unrelated to a lot of these exchanges, because what happens is, and that's actually a really good question, Bob, because OTC sales don't always show up on these charts, because OTCs are not from Coinbase. They are from, it's exactly what they are. They're OTCs. So if you're buying your coins from Coinbase and you're trading on there, then that's what you're going to be having on here. Or if you do that from Bitfinex or from Binance or any of those, then those are going to be showing up on these charts. But OTCs, a lot of the time, they don't show up on these. Now, it's possible for them to, but it's one of those things. Because OTC does not reflect the exchanges, therefore, yeah, exactly. MJ said it pretty well right there. But it shows a demand for Bitcoin, yeah. Now, if we were seeing all of these OTC sales in the volume chart, it would be significantly different. It would. And that's one of the biggest manipulating things right now, is that people can do it off OTC, or they can do it off just from peer-to-peer transactions. I know people that have done that before, and they've actually, instead of buying it from exchanges, they buy it from other people directly. And that doesn't show up on here. That doesn't show up on the volume. That doesn't show up on an exchange. There could be people buying in the masses over the counter, not through an exchange, and that would never show up on here. In fact, that's what we're learning has been happening in cryptocurrency to avoid and to keep manipulation. That's what people have been doing. And that's one of the biggest problems, is because despite this market looking so down, it's actually booming right now, but you're not going to see that in the charts, because it's not reflecting that. The people who are buying all this Bitcoin in the mass, they're not doing it from Coinbase. And I mean, they're not, again, Coinbase is going to make them pay a premium, and they're not going to pay a premium for Bitcoin. Neither is the New York Stock Exchange, neither is the NASDAQ, neither is the Intercontinental Exchange, neither is any big market maker, anyone who wants to get it in big. All these big organizations, all these retail people who want to get into cryptocurrency and Bitcoin specifically, they're not going to pay a premium, they're going to pay a discount. They're businessmen, they know what they're doing. If they're going to open up something, it's the same rule of Amazon. When Amazon decided that again, this is a little bit off topic, but when Amazon wanted to open up their new headquarters on the East Coast, they said, all right, who can give us the best deal? All these cities and counties were saying, we'll give you this tax break, and we'll give you these benefits, and we'll give you this much of a discount. And they were offering all these things to give them, say, hey, this is the discount. And this is exactly what retailers and all these other people are saying with Bitcoin too. They're saying, hey, we're not going to pay a premium. If you want us, we're going to get it on discount. And that's exactly what we're seeing with price action and what's happening over the counter. Now, along with Bitcoin, we're seeing, again, rejected from resistance up here, trying to make its way back up to the 4 hour, which is my favorite time zone, the 4 hour on Coinbase, trying to make its way back up to the 50-day EMA over here. Not quite touching it, showing a little bit of rejection. And as we saw on the 1 hour, can we even see it on the 2 hour? No, so we're not seeing it on the 2 hour yet, but as we're seeing on the 1 hour, you are having a double top forming on Bitcoin, which again, bearish, not what we want to see from this zone on Bitcoin, but what you could have here, this is why it could actually be pretty healthy, is that if you do have this double top, we would like to see ourselves come down and find some sort of find some sort of a support, because that's what we're looking for at this point. We're seeing, hey, is this trend line that we have over here, is this going to be used as support? It looks fairly strong. I mean, look at all these touch points all the way up here. Or is something like this going to be used as support? Is it going to be a downward support? Is it going to be an upward support? Like, what are we seeing happen over here? Because are we going to get some sort of a pennant going, or are we going to get some, because, and this is essentially what it comes down to, because this would be a bullish pennant. If you go up like this and then you form a pennant, this would be a bullish pennant. You know, that's technically what it would be classified as. It'd be essentially a bull flag forming from everything that's happening over here. But if this is going down to a rising wedge, you got a little bit more wiggle room. It's still going to be kind of bullish, because what you're going to do is you're going to break down to something like this. Excuse me. You're going to break down to something like this, maybe hit a little bit of support, come down here, and then touch this, and then you could actually go on a breakout. Or if it's the inverse head and shoulders, you pretty much ignore all this and you're just going to start running pretty soon. So there's a bunch of different options. Again, you have the bullish pennant bull flag, you have the inverse head and shoulders, you have the falling wedge, and then you have the candle chart itself saying, hey, you're losing all your volume over here, all your positive volume's drying up, all your negative volume is actually growing, and volume in general is drying up. I mean, you're seeing this over here, so you're saying, hey, we're getting ready for a large move. Is it going to be bullish or is it going to be bearish? We're going to find out pretty soon, but this is a no trade zone for me, as I was talking in the Patreon earlier. But you are seeing lower levels of positive momentum on over here, and you're seeing your bears are having higher levels. Your bears are getting stronger on your 1 hour. Actually, let's go ahead and change this to a 4 hour, because it's way more significant. So that way we can get rid of this. But essentially, it's saying the same thing. Hey, positive momentum's drying up over here, but you were having Class A bullish divergence, so this was really good. Double bullish divergence on your MACD, so that was great. Another thing from the RSIs, we've been talking about this uptrend that it's been having. I'm just looking absolutely phenomenal for the most part. Seeing a great support line on the RSI, consistent higher lows, but what we've been talking about is that this support line is actually set to break pretty soon, and so that's something that we could see happen for Bitcoin. And when this does break, it's going to be a hefty drop. Now, that's the only thing I'm afraid about, is that if this does break, you're going to see a pretty nasty drop on Bitcoin at some point in the not so distant future. Now, whether that's just a rebound, and this is sorry to like bobble around here a lot, but this is where it starts getting hard, because you're having conflicting things. Again, volume's falling off, which is really, really bad, but you're showing patterns and signs of this being bullish. Now, the overall sentiment is still very, very bearish for the most part, because you're still in a downwards trend over here. This isn't still is not bullish, because the trend is your friend, and the trend is still downwards until you make a higher high that is going to be the trend. And even then, just because you make one higher high does not mean it's a trend reversal. So if we zoom out over here and we're saying, hey, this is still a giant falling wedge, as we talked about in several videos. If this was to play out, now this could be the market reversal. This could be it. But this could play out for another couple months. And that's what people don't understand yet, is that this entire pattern could play out for another couple months. And this falling wedge, we could be in March before we break out. And that's why I'm saying we could bottom out, because bottoming out over here, still being in the falling wedge, we could be at $2,500. Then we bottom out, and then we break out, and we have a market reversal. Now, again, it's something I always tell people, is that it's not going to be one of these situations where you're bouncing, and all of a sudden you're back at 20K, we're just breaking out and flying. That's not something that's going to happen. Now, again, at some point in the future, you're going to have something like that probably happen again, but it's not going to be just this moon theory, this rocket ship that's just going to take off like we had over here. Again, this is a rare a rare case. A lot of FOMO happened in order for this to happen. This is the reason that we're in the situation that we're in right now, is because we didn't build any support on the way up. I mean, look at this. I mean, if you look at this from a daily, it looks way worse because we didn't build any support. This is a bunch of twigs. All you have is green candles. You have no consolidation. You have nothing from the left to even build support. So when we rocket shot up like this, we had no consolidation. And it's something that's put us in the current situation that we're at. But again, this is kind of looking good. This is giving me hope at this point. So as I've said, bottom out in 2019. Keep working our way from here. And let's go ahead and go to the comment section. But it shows demand for Bitcoin. I think we already went through that one. That's private sales. Doesn't go on any formal sales list. And doesn't get tracked by any of the market. Yeah, exactly. And that's why the OTC thing is kind of a big deal right now. And a lot of people have been talking about OTC over everything else. So, yeah, OTC is definitely a pretty large factor. Now let's go back to the 4-hour and talk more specific. So let's go ahead and through the basics. MACD and RSI. MACD, again, slightly bearish right now, but you are. Now, what I would like to see on the MACD, actually, well, we might actually not even have a chance, which we probably aren't. But I would still like to see a lower low on the MACD, because then we could still have even more bullish divergence. That would be a perfect world over here, but you're pointing down for the most part. Your indicators and your oscillators are both saying bearish at this point. Your RSI is pretty freaking neutral for the most part. We talked about that support line, but there is one thing that you have to know is that you are having lower levels of positive momentum consistently over this point. You have a double top. Again, not good to see double top. Well, it's technically not a double. It's ever so slightly higher, but nonetheless, you're still seeing lower levels of positive momentum 1, 2, 3 times now coming down saying, hey, you could be seeing some downwards notion over here. And, well, that's exactly what could be happening. We're seeing a little bit of a retrace. And what I'm scared to happen over here is that we create some sort of a head and shoulders of our own instead of forming and playing out this inverse head and shoulders, because that's what everyone wants. These FOMO parabolic rise will happen again, unfortunately. Yeah, and so that's one of the scariest things, is that when we talk about this FOMO parabolic rise, this stuff, while it's great to ride, while it's great to earn money in if you're already in crypto, it hurts the market, any market, so badly. I mean, I can show you another one. I worked for this place. They're like one of the top loan banks right now. Or at least they were. I worked for them this summer, and this is what it looked like. Again, it was parabolic. It was great. All the people were talking about it, but the whole time I was at the bank, they were saying, hey, I was saying, hey, I would prepare yourself. It's right before I left, which is in the fall. I said, hey, this thing is getting ready to collapse upon itself. It's parabolic. It's not healthy. It's at an all-time high. It's great. And they're like, no, it's at all-time highs, dude. This thing's going all the way. And, well, this is what happened. And I got a text a couple months ago saying, hey, you were right. And they all thought I was the stupid 21-year-old intern, when it turns out this is what happened to the business. And they had to swallow their pride and come to me a couple months later and say, hey, you were right. This is what happened. And they said, but how did you know? And I broke it down and I explained it to them. I said, there's plenty of warning signs, but this stuff is never healthy. And again, it's great. They were all making so much money. The bank was doing so well, but you have to recognize reversal trends, reversal patterns, parabolic signs. And while it is great to ride, you have to know when to sell, because now years of investing could be undone. I mean, you're almost at like all-time lows. And the same thing can happen for Bitcoin, because now years of investing for Bitcoin can be undone. And so this is the biggest problem I have. If you guys follow my social media, I ranted about this a couple of weeks ago, because you have all of these, and again, we'll get back to the TA in a second, but I like to mix these live streams with educational purposes, but also with technical analysis, because it's just as equally important to know how to invest as it is to know technical analysis. And you need to know both, or else you're going to be screwing yourself. But you have all these Instagram, you have all these social media accounts, and all these YouTubers that are idiots, and they don't know what they're doing, and they just want to jump on the bandwagon because it's an easy gig, and hopefully people give them money and they get ad revenue, or people buy their fake courses and books and whatever it is. Like, I charge, I don't really charge much of anything. I have a Patreon just so I can earn a little bit of money for the hours I put into this, but like, it's very little. But I do a lot of this just to help people understand that you need to spot all these reversal patterns. There's all these people saying, hey, keep on investing in stocks. This is where you could be in a year. Keep on investing in real estate. This is where you could be in a year. And people said the same thing in Bitcoin in 2008, in 2017, saying, hey, invest in Bitcoin. This is where you could be in a year. And in reality, instead of investing in Bitcoin and saying this is where you could be in a year at like 100K, this is where they're at in a year. And I saw people all this year in stocks saying, invest in stocks. This is where you could be in a year. And if we go to the NASDAQ, I mean, this thing's falling off a cliff right now too. So people need, and this is this is why I'm doing this, because you guys need to learn how to spot reversal patterns and reversal signs so that you don't get stuck like one of the people who bought up here. All right, that's the goal, is to make sure everyone on this channel is just as educated as I am, so that you guys don't even need to watch me anymore. You guys can go and be just as confident of a trader as it was actually the wrong exchange. But that's the overall goal over here, is that we get a community of strong and consistent traders so we can actually change this market for the better. Now, what's happening over here? We broke down the MACD, we broke down the RSI. What else do we have over here? We talked about this falling wedge a little bit and everything else that's happening in this area. I'm going to go ahead. Okay, I think I'm all caught up on comments, actually. If you guys can, go ahead and drop a like on the video. It does help out the video a lot. I do appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, any requests, comment that in the comment section. I'll be happy to answer it. So with this itself happening over here, of course, the falling wedge, our measured move down over here would be somewhere around the $3,463 range. This is where I would ideally have my support if I was going to enter into a buy. You do have another support over here. Now this is where it starts actually getting kind of strong, because this, you have 1, 2, 3 very, very healthy touches. So getting around a little bit lower over here to around 3,665. This is where you're going to actually having some strong support as well. Now, this is going to be a hefty, strong support line. If this breaks, I think you're going to fall straight through the 618. Even though it was respected last time, I think you're going to fall straight through that, come down to this support that we have over here, again, which is what we mentioned, or just below 3,500. Again, 35 is going to be a pretty strong support. You have candle body closings over here. You have candle body closings over here. You have candle body closings over here. And along with that, you have your 618. So this is going to be one like hell of a support. It really is. But if it breaks through this, again, you're going to fall right down over here, which is what I would like to see, because I'd like to see this falling wedge play out really more than anything. And again, it would be equally as good if we do get this bull flag. Like if we say like we just get rid of all of this nonsense over here. And we just have ourselves a bullish pennant, a bull flag get painted, and this thing just breaks out. Wrong tool. And then maybe we come and we do something like this, and then we break out like bull flag. That would be just equally as great, to be honest, because that would be reaffirming this head and shoulders that we had going essentially like over here in this area, because that would essentially do the same thing as the bull flag, and both of those would have pretty large measured moves towards the upside. So either one of those would be looking pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and undo this so we can get our support line back. Wrong tool. So that's my thoughts on Bitcoin right now. Now, before I go anything deeper into Bitcoin, we're going to look at this on the 1 hour, and then we're going to go ahead and actually take a look at Ethereum and XRP. The comedic gamer says, but the 618 is my happy place. Yeah, I know. We talked about the 618 a lot recently because it's so strong, and it's one of those things that's ridiculously respected in Bitcoin. In fact, if we didn't even touch the bottom of this, I wouldn't be surprised, because the 618 is such a strong level for Bitcoin, even more so than any of the altcoins. It's such a strong level for Bitcoin that it's scary how well it's respected. Like, it really is. It's weird. Like, you look at it and you're like, that's just not normal compared to other things. So Bob says, how does the Ethereum chart looks like? Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at that. Well, one thing again, guys, this double top, as we're talking about, this is probably going to continue to fall over here. Again, double top, not a bullish thing. This is a very, very bearish thing to see. So we'll see how this plays out as we're keeping going. And let's go ahead and take a look at Ethereum to USD on Coinbase. There's a guy in our Discord earlier, Blank, excellent freaking trader, really, really intelligent guy. He was making trade after trade on Ethereum today. I think he said he made, he said he made 7 trades in a row, 7 scalps, and then another 5 or 6. So he's probably he's a extremely intelligent scalper. and leverage trader. So this is going to be our support line for Bitcoin right now. If we're going to draw resistance, I would say it would be looking something like this. A little bit of a pennant action for the most part, but I think what the strongest thing that we're seeing over here is indeed the support line, because what you're seeing is you're having 1 touch, now 2 touch, now 3 touch. It's looking actually very, very similar to Bitcoin. But even honestly, I would say that this is even cleaner than Bitcoin, at least for the moment being. But the fact is that since the market cap is so low, Blank made 5.5 BTC scalping today. MJ, are you is MJ Blank? That'd be awesome, dude. He's a great guy, even if you aren't. He's a great guy. Glad to have him in the community. Him and a lot of the other guys, dude. They're really, really nice. And just helping out and teaching with others too. But I wouldn't be surprised, dude. That guy, he makes Bitcoins a day. So this is what our support's going to look like. Again, I think this is a very decent support for the most part. But in fact, let's go ahead and draw up a fib retracement live, because this is where things get good and juicy, because this is where we learn live. So what do we have on our fib retracement? It's nothing too much, to be honest. This isn't respected nearly as much as on Bitcoin, or as Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is respecting the fibs a whole lot better, but the thing to note over here is your 382 touched. Actually, I think it's a piercing candle. Yeah, regardless. Actually, it's not even. If we look at this, oh, that's the wrong chart. No wonder. Sorry, you can't really, I enjoy looking at fibs on the 4 hour rather than the 1 hour. So let's go ahead and take a look at this from this area. So coming back down, very, very similar to Bitcoin, respecting your 618, going back up, touching your 236, getting rejected, having a little bit of Darth Maul action over here, just wicking and stopping everyone out, respecting your 382, now finding a little bit of consolidation up in here. And I actually don't think this looks too bad for the most part. You're having a little bit of bearish divergence, but the overall sentiment of Ethereum right now is actually not looking as bad as it has been. Double bottom over here, signifying, hey, you could go run up. It did that, played out pretty nicely, but now it's showing a little bit of bearish divergence. You're having double bearish divergence on your 4 hour MACD, and your RSI is looking actually pretty bearish as well. So for the most part, Ethereum short term, I would say, is actually bearish now. It could go up and run a little bit here, but like for the most part, the overall sentiment of Ethereum is bearish. It was oversold. It's coming back down a little bit in the medium right now, but I do expect this to do some sort of action, and even if it's like this, and eventually come back and retrace into this level over here, into the oversold territory. And oversold and overbought or I'll get back to the comment sections in 1 second, guys. I know I'm ignoring you guys for the time being, but I want to explain oversold and overbought as I've done before. Overbought does not mean it's overbought. It can't be bought anymore. You need to just short this every time you see it up here, right? These are very loose terms that people coin, and saying if it's up in this level, the general principle of Bitcoin is overbought. There are more buyers than sellers, and in theory, the price should come back down to a more happy medium, which it always usually will. But what that's not saying is up here, like, people can't say that since it's at this level, it can't go any higher. It's already overbought this much. It can keep going as much as it wants overbought. Just the higher it gets, the more likely it is to come down even harder. Because the more overbought it is, the more oversold it gets. As we see over here, skyrocket overbought, skyrocket oversold. Over here, slightly overbought, slightly oversold. They're pretty reflectionary of each other. They're pretty equal. So again, I would expect this thing to probably take another hit. But this is why it's not necessarily a bad thing, because if this does play out, and let's just say that this does tank, what happens if it just comes? What happens if that tank it just plays out to be support? That would be great. That would be ideal. If that would be the best tank that you could have for Ethereum, is that it comes back, touches support. Next thing you know, you have a bull flag painted, you have a bullish pennant saying you're ready to go higher. Because while in the short term that does look bad, again, look at the bigger picture over here. This isn't bad. You come back down, you hit support. Let's go and draw this out a little bit. You come back, and let's just say it hits, right? You touch. Then you go over here, touch support again, and then you're breaking out. Now, is that guaranteed to happen? No, but ideally, that's what we would like to see set ourselves up for right now. That would be a really good thing to happen for Ethereum based upon our RSI correlating to these candle body charts and formations that we have. That would be a perfect world. So, time will tell, but that's what I would love to see happen. That would be the healthiest thing that Ethereum could do. That would have been one of the healthiest things that's happened to Ethereum in a long time. You're above your moving averages. That's great. Bitcoin's not. I don't think it is right now. Well, actually, we'll check that in a second. No, I have him on Discord. He posted the pic. Yeah. He's incredible, man. He is a very smart guy. He trades every day. I know when after he made all the scalps today, he's like, all right, I'm done for the day. There's him and another guy I know named Mr. Bit or JTES. They're both incredible, dude. People who made several Bitcoins like it's nothing. I wish I had been trading off and on since 2015, still not rich. When Bitcoin went on its drop from 6K, did you guys put your crypto into Tether or USD Coin? That's really the only way to protect your money if Bitcoin drops. So my answer is no. Okay, so yes, I did use Tether a little bit, but I'm actually not that fan of. I'm not a really big fan of Tether or any of the stable coins anymore. I don't like using the stable coins. I feel like, especially Tether, maybe a lot of these are just kind of set to implode upon themselves because they're not something that can last forever. Because they have to be backed in theory by fiat currency, and as the crypto market expands to X amount, they can't have that money to back it up forever. Eventually, it's going to become too much to the point of where they cannot back it up because the market cap to keep it stable is going to be too much for them, and then it implodes like BitConnect or something. So I don't like using those. And this is the option I would say. There's a couple options. You can just take the hit, keep your crypto in a coin that doesn't move as much, a higher market cap coin. You could put it into a stable coin, risk a little bit there, but for the most part, you keep your money the same. Or you can make money while it falls by shorting. That's what I like. I've been shorting this because if it's shorting, you keep the same amount of crypto, but you also gain more in addition to that. Now, depending on where you live, depends on whether or not you can short. But I have, like, again, I shorted this area. I was in, I think I was in Discord talking about it. I think I mentioned it in the Patreon as well. But what happened is, shorted this. One of the Patrons messaged me and said, hey, I know you said 618. I'm getting in for a long scalp here. Right after that, he rode this thing all the way up. I'm actually not sure. I haven't talked to him since, but either way, he's still in profits. He literally entered at the very bottom over here. And again, shorting and longing using leverage is a great way to make money in a bear market because if you know it's going to go down, you just short it. I moved my BTC to my NanoLedger S. I have a NanoLedger as well. Those things are incredible. I believe that the NanoLedgers are the safest way to keep your cryptocurrency because, I mean, they just are. As long as you buy it directly from the manufacturer, it's probably the safest way to keep it. When I'm ready, I move it back into the exchange, or if I'm scalping, I move it to Tether, yeah. I try to not leave anything on exchanges for too long, yeah. The only thing I have money on right now is Binance. I actually really enjoy Binance. They have a really good system. I'm the only one dealing with less than 1K. I'm the only one dealing with less than $1,000. Been putting more money into Bitcoin during 6K run. I've been saving. And then I dropped it to 3K and I wasn't able to access the accounts and lost half. Yikes. That's brutal. So, yeah, I mean, that's brutal. I've been in crypto for a long time. I remember seeing it at under $2 and it's still not easy to see all this happening, but that's rough, man. It's having quick access to your accounts and all that is pretty essential, whether it's a hard wallet or a paper wallet or whatever you do. I always recommend having access to your accounts 24/7. So whatever that may look like to you, keeping it on an exchange or a wallet, or make sure that you're in possession of your own money, right? No one else should be able to say you can't take out your money right now. So let's go ahead and take a look at XRP. We've gone through Bitcoin, we've gone through Ethereum. Let's go ahead and take a look at XRP. I'm a big fan of, if it's your money, you should have access to it. It's yours. It's not theirs. So that's why another reason why I like crypto so much. This looks actually this actually looks a lot different. I am glad we looked at this one because this one looks a lot different from both Bitcoin and Ethereum. Be sure to like the video, guys. Yeah, thank you so much, the Comedic Gamer. What about XLM? Yeah, we can go through XML. XLM for sure. Let me go ahead and draw this XRP chart up, and we will get on the XLM. So this one is actually looking really healthy. So we can go ahead and say that that could be a trend line, but we can also go ahead and say that this guy is a trend line. In fact, that's probably going to be even better. Now this looks really good. I'm not really sure what kind of wick action this is, but we're going from the coin. We're going to go ahead and ignore that wick. It looks pretty manipulated. Try to measure ourselves in something like this. I mean, even if you go like this, I guess it's technically like a parallel channel sort of deal. Well, it might actually be a rising. So depending on how we look at this, it could pretty much be either a rising wedge or a parallel channel, looking a little bit more like a rising wedge than anything else. But this XRP chart is actually looking, for the most part, pretty good over here. Let's go ahead and check out our MACD RSI. Ooh, okay, so look at this. Double bottom on your MACD. 4-hour MACD, double bottom on Binance Exchange. Something to take note of over here, saying, hey, sellers came down, unhappy, found a level, ran up, came down, weren't able to get an even lower low, saying, hey, you're having good support over here. Now you're probably going to rally again. Now, I don't expect you to top this higher high. I think what you're going to actually do over here is that you're going to end up setting yourself up for double bearish divergence. So I think you could rally, hit this, and then have double bearish divergence, and that could actually be a bad thing for crypto, for XRP. And maybe that's when you break this support, to be honest. But it might have one more swing up here before it sees anything. But of course, here's the deal though. So if Bitcoin falls, then the rest of crypto falls with it. Pretty much everything is tethered to Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin goes up, a lot of these altcoins are going to go up. If Bitcoin goes down, a lot of the altcoins are going to go down. So again, this is what I mean. Bitcoin's down 2%. Everything else is pretty much in the red. Neo's up 0.3, 0.5, 0.5. This one's good, 2%. But for the most part, you guys see what I mean. There is significantly more red than there is green on this chart, especially within the mainstream coins. So if you own a mainstream coin, if Bitcoin goes up, you're going to go up. If it's going down, then you're going to go down. So you have to remember that when you're actually looking at this. While they do have a little bit of their own technical analysis, with the market caps of all these cryptocurrencies being smaller, they are more impacted by Bitcoin and less than by their own TA. They're more impacted by Bitcoin's TA than by their own TA. So I would say what I would like to see over here, the problem with this one is that you just have these crazy wicks. And every swing high on XRP, you just have so much FOMO wicks. Like, it's hard to do TA on it. But ideally, I mean, again, you're using this support. If you want to get your best area of value upon an entry, you'd enter somewhere over here on your support lines. Keep a stop loss, so if it does break down, you're not falling all the way to, like, these levels. You're getting stopped out up here. Again, I think stop losses are so crucial, especially if you're leaving your computer. But let's go ahead and, so again, it could do something like this, probably have one more pump, and then probably break this. That's ideally what I would see in XRP, but that was a pretty fast TA, and that chart looks really sloppy. Well, it looks good, but I don't know. There's just too many FOMO wicks for me. XLM to BTC. So let's go ahead and look at this one. That is unique. Man. Okay. Whew. So, what is our... That's not what I was expecting to see. What's our MACD looking like? Alright, so our MACD is looking pretty bearish. Our RSI is looking pretty bearish. Yeah, well, actually it could not be. It's honestly super neutral. And our candle chart itself, well, it actually could be setting itself up for a nice move here. So now why am I saying that? Well, if you can't see, it has a pretty obvious pattern right here of creating cup and handles or inverse head and shoulders or whatever you want to call these. Now, take notice that these are progressively getting smaller each time they happen, but it's following pretty much the same pattern. In fact, if we draw a regressional trend line over here, it's going to be completely sideways. Like, there's like just no other way to put it. Like, look. So in theory, you buy the red, sell the blue. Like, that's the easy way of describing what's happening over here. But it's very, very sideways. It's very, very just like black and white. So if you're looking for a good entry, well, it looks like, I mean, this entire area is solid support. I mean, you buy this area, buy this area, buy this area. If you're looking for an XLM trade, I don't trade XLM, but like if I was, and I was just simply looking off this, like let's even look at it on the daily. Like it's like it's one of those like kids coloring books where it's like this happens, now this happens, now this happens, now this has happening. What's gonna happen next? Well, like if it respects the same trends that it's been doing over here for the entire year, then you would see something like this, right? So now it's not guaranteed to happen, and that's not really TA, but that's just looking at like the macro trend and what's happening. The trend is your friend, and seeing this is kind of reassuring. So let's go ahead and move to our 4-hour and draw up some chart formations. Just going to get a solid support on it and over here. So actually, if we want to draw this, we can actually get a triple support line right here. Pretty solid support line. Not something that you want to retest because quite obviously it would be a hefty drop. In fact, if you do retest the support line, you're going to come down to these levels over here. So it's going to be a hefty drop. If we're looking at this on a USD chart, we can see it a lot better. But now if we're looking at this, this is essentially just a parallel channel. In fact, that's actually what we're going to draw up instead. Parallel channel here, here, do something like this. Boom. Now we can get rid of this and this. And boom. So there we go. We have a parallel channel over here. Pretty easy. We have our heart line in the middle, and it's at resistance. So this is where you have it. You have either breakout point, you break your EMAs, which you're riding ever so hard right now. You're riding these EMAs, you break these EMAs and you have a large breakout, or you don't and you have a large breakdown. Either way, you can tell yourself that XLM, Stellar Lumens, is setting itself up for a large move. So whether you like the coin or not, there's really no saying that this thing's not getting ready. It's getting ready for a large move. I would expect it in the next 30 days. And it's pretty self-explanatory. Right? You get rejected from this resistance. You're going down to these previous levels over here to the bottom of your trend line. Around 2600 Satoshi. You break out. You're probably heading back up. You know, you're probably having a decent breakout. A fairly large breakout. I would say at least to the levels of 4,000 Satoshi. Maybe 3,900 Satoshi. So something to note, though, is that you're going to look at your 200 EMA. That's going to be your first heart of resistance. You're going to hit that, and that's going to be a pretty decent resistance because you're going to have candle body closings, and you're also going to have your 200 EMA. So this thing's going to hit. You're going to get some resistance here most likely, but after if you do break it, after you break it, it's going to be support rather than resistance. So again, you can see that in the past. So that would be just like my quick thoughts on XLM. Yeah, I bought 3,100. Oh yeah, it's like right above it. Yeah, it's like so it's basically right where it's at. So yeah, I mean, I would just say keep a stop loss on this thing, but it could turn out to a really nice swing trade. I'll probably actually look into this a little bit more after I get off stream for myself, because I've actually been wanting to purchase some XLM, so this might actually be a good point. But again, I'm going to do a little bit more TA of that probably when I get off stream. And then if I do, again, I'm going to keep a type stop loss on this thing. I'm not trying to have it tank all the way down. I mean, no trader is, right? All right, let's go back to chat. Ricky Willis said, looks like you could make some money on it. I used to trade it, but I missed out and messed up on its dip from 23 cents. What's it currently at? XLM is at... Oh, it's at 11 cents. Jeez. Yeah, that one hurts. I like Stellar. I have about 250. Forgot about my Nano. I don't own any Nano, but I want to own some Stellar. Yeah, I bought it. Oh, 2,500. 2,500. Yeah, 2,500 would be... Oh, yeah, sorry. I probably said that wrong. My bad. You should document it. Yeah, same MJ. Document what, Ricky? Let's go ahead and back to Bitcoin because I really want to see how this double top was playing out. Oh, that's the wrong exchange. 1 hour. Yeah, I mean, not much. And that's the thing, is you have to make sure that this candle body closes for the double top to even be viable. But I would recommend seeing this double tops at least on a 4 hour. Some people like trading on 1 hour. I know Blank's a huge trader of the 1 hour and 15 minutes, but what's this thing? Nano Ledger. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Nano, to be honest. I don't want to say I don't hate it, but I would never buy any, to put it that way. Forgot about it on my Nano. Okay, so I read that wrong. That's good. That's like one of the best things, is forgetting that you in crypto and then coming back to it. Your trade wins with XLM? Yeah, I might as well. As in I left it on my Nano. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I do that with... I basically do that like in the Discord. Here, I'll go ahead and pull this up. I'll go ahead and pull this up so you guys can actually see this. If you guys aren't in the Discord, it's completely free. You guys can join. You don't have to, but there's a link in the description if any of you guys are interested. It's a really cool place. So I can go ahead and pull this up. Just like things over here. Last Wednesday, I'm currently shorting. I was like, oh yeah, anyone trading? No one answered. I'm currently shorting BTC, 10x leverage, and some profits right now. Here it is, 919 the next day at 343, 50% profits. You know, I document like little things like this. And then here's like, again, one of the Patreons said I went long at 345, and now he's in profits. And this is like, I guess I don't privately record anything. I'm pretty transparent with what happens. I'm very transparent, so like if anything happens, I'm pretty public about it. I'll just post in the Discord. It's not like I put it in like a private stash where I'm like, no one can learn these trade secrets. Like I'm pretty vocal about it. If I'm not vocal in the Discord, then I am in the Patreon, I guess. But let's go back to chat over here. Well, I know it's on my Nano, but don't really have it. Trade. Yeah, so that's another thing that I suggest, is that people have a trading portfolio and they have their regular crypto portfolio. Because if everything that you own is trading and you really mess up on trading, then you screw your whole portfolio up. So have like, again, diversify yourself. Diversify how you manage your money. It's a super, super crucial thing. I mean, I'm glad I'm learning it while I'm relatively young. And it's helped me a lot. It really has. I'm actually trying to buy some precious metals right now, like silver. But, again, more diversity. I don't do stocks. If anyone knows me, I do not like stocks. I stay away from that. But, well, I know... Anyone help me how to be a better trader? I'll get on Discord, I guess. Yeah, dude, welcome to the group. There's a lot of cool people in there. So, again, you can learn from just watching the videos and the live streams. You can join the Patreon if you want to learn even more and get even more private access. But, again, there's really... there's no pushy strings over here. So let's go back to Bitcoin. I don't want to talk too much about that stuff. We'll talk about that later. But really not that much has changed for Bitcoin for the most part. There's really not. I guess we can do a macro analysis. So let's go ahead and pull up the 3-day. So if I was looking at this, oh man, I ran out of water. Altcoins will rocket in the end of January. Power to Achieve, welcome back. Power to Achieve has been here since day one almost. He's been here for forever, months. Hey, Ricky, welcome. Thanks so much. Yeah, Comedic Gamer, I need to give you a wrench. Put user in timeout, add as moderator. There you go. So what are we looking at over here? Ideally, we had our descending triangle. This is pretty straightforward. I mean, we'll talk about the basics, and then we'll get into like the actual macro. Class A descending triangle broke down. This was a great short for me. But again, that broke down. What are we looking at now? Now you're actually looking at some hefty retracement levels, and it's actually it's kind of hard to see these candles because we have so much work in there. But what does this mean as a macro trend? Is this dead? Now that the hyperwave theory is kind of like not as much in play anymore, what is the deal over here? Because this doesn't look good. You fumbled your bull flag, and now you're down. And we'll talk about why I actually think this is a good thing rather than necessarily a bad thing. Because what this does, and what I hope we do in 2019, is that whatever of the shit coins that are left, or any of the scammers or ICOs or malware altcoins and malware crypto websites, all of these trashy people who have hurt cryptocurrency and ICOs in the name of Bitcoin and all this stuff, we need to get rid of all the scams and all the really just all these fakes, especially crypto YouTubers. There's very few good ones, and there's a lot of bad ones. You have a lot of morons in cryptocurrency on YouTube that will tell you whatever you want to hear instead of what you need to hear. You know, they'll make stuff up. They'll make up TA. They'll tell you it's bullish when it's not. And we need to stomp these people out, or at least make them look like a fool so that people stop listening to them. Because you had the same people telling you to buy up here. So, what does this mean at this point? Well, no, again, this is not... You can compare this to a lot of other things. Is it unrecoverable? The answer is no. It's not it has not gotten to a point right now where it's so bad it cannot return. In fact, I think this is going to fall even more. But I think that it's going to be a good thing. I think it's going to be needed. It's going to be a great period of consolidation and even reach the point, and I hate saying this word, it's my least favorite word in all of cryptocurrency, but capitulation. I think it's going to have to reach that point before you get any signs of a market reversal, and that's why it's going to get so crucial. So let's go ahead and look at our 3-day MACD, and this is where things start getting a little bit more lightning, and this is where we start thinking about this inverse head and shoulders, because while we did have all this gray area on our MACD, it's still nowhere near to what we're seeing over at this level. And in fact, now that our MACD and our oscillators are pointing upwards, you can't help but be a little bit bullish, because the MACD, the 3-day MACD is it's pretty significant. Same thing with the RSI. So I would say the RSI is even more significant. So the fact that we were so oversold even on the 3-day, and that we're starting to see higher lows on our 3-day RSI, is a pretty good sign. Again, 1, 2. Now what we're looking like could be a 3. You're pointing yourself up towards the upwards now. Is this the market reversal? No, not yet. I don't think it is, but you're showing yourselves that, hey, some of these crazy hard drops, for the most part, they're over with. You know, I don't think we're going to keep falling like what we've seen in the past 12 months. I think that for the most part, the worst of it is over. This is where we start bottoming out and we start setting ourselves up for this new transition in cryptocurrency. Again, I don't think it's bottomed yet, but I think you're done with this crazy parabolic breakdowns. So with these things where you're seeing thousands of dollars in cryptocurrency just disappear, and billions of dollars, like tens of billions of dollars in market cap, just like gone in an hour. I think that those times are for the most part over. You're going to come down, you're going to bottom out in 2019, and probably somewhere, if I was going to be honest, somewhere in this area over here. I think this is going to be your final support, and this is where it could happen. If not, again, 1200. But let's go over to chat over here. Just finished watching the UFC 232. Oh, I heard that was going to be good. A lot of my friends were watching that. Yeah, who won the main event, Jones? Spoiler alert. Knockout. Really? Good for him. Stoppage. Cyborg got killed by Runes. By Noons. Capitulation time, boys. It's my least favorite word in all of crypto. What if positive news came out about Bitcoin? Slingshot engaged. Yeah, it's kind of the meme, but it depends. Like, what kind of news would it be? I mean, if you were to have news a year ago that the New York Stock Exchange, Intercontinental Exchange, NASDAQ, and Amazon were all getting into cryptocurrency, then it would have shot up to like $50,000. But now you have news that all of those guys are joining cryptocurrency and blockchain, and like, look at the price, right? Like, you have more of a pump in a coin in the crypto market when Coinbase adds something than you do of when news happens anymore, for the most part. Unless it's like India's unbanning cryptocurrency or something big. People got tired of all the manipulation of Russia banning cryptocurrency, price tanks. China bans cryptocurrency, price tanks. South Korea bans cryptocurrency, price tanks. India bans, like, etc. It kept getting repeated so many times to where the people who cared and were influenced so much by it, they're out of the market now. So that's why the price isn't affected by all this news stuff anymore. Because the people who are buying and selling off of like crazy news, FOMO, and FUD, they're, for the most part, they're gone. Which is probably a good thing. But again, backed 26 days. Yeah, I think back's going to be a good thing for cryptocurrency. Do I think it's going to catapult us back to 10K? I don't. But I think it's going to be a great thing for the long term of cryptocurrency. Again, with backed and with the NASDAQ, I forget what the NASDAQ exchange is, and the Amazon jumping in now, I think it's going to be one of those things that's not going to do too much at first, but you give it a year, 2, 3 years, it's going to really start creating this snowball effect for people. It's just like the same thing as like the New York Stock Exchange. When it started out, it wasn't like trillion-dollar industry, but like now we are here tens of years down the road, like this thing is snowballed to something giant. You have a $50 trillion industry now, just within the New York Stock Exchange. So I think that's going to be the same thing with cryptocurrency. Again, I think it's going to start the snowball effect. It's not going to happen immediately, but like you give it a couple of years, and that's when I believe you're really going to start seeing the effects of Bakkt and some of these other major crypto players. I think really good news came out about a major deal happening soon. I think Trump will end the Fed and replace it with crypto. I don't think that he's going to get rid of our fiat system and replace it with crypto. A lot of other countries are, but I don't think the United States is ready for that yet. Most first world countries aren't ready for that yet. You're seeing a lot of second and third world countries do that, which is what's normal. It's how history repeats itself. It's happened in all of history. The second and third world countries test it out. Then the first world countries see how much they're missing out and how much that they can use it, and then they come in and take it over. They could bail out the U.S. of debt. Well, Trump will go the way of Kennedy if he tried that. Yeah, exactly. That's the I mean, it's the sad truth. If he announced that like we're switching over to cryptocurrency, the sad, horrible truth is that he would probably get he would probably get assassinated, and that's horrible that people would do that. But it's kind of true because people aren't ready for that much of a change yet. They just aren't. I don't think a lot of the world is. Because if, like, one of the largest market influencers in the world, if not the largest market influencer in the world, switches over to cryptocurrency, like, it would be a very hard transition. That's not something that can happen overnight. That's something that has to be set in stone for, like, a long transitional period. A lot of these countries, and some of the first world countries that are doing that, they have a set standard. It's just like when they switched over to the euro and stuff. Like, you had, like, years period where you could do both fiat currencies in the European Union, but eventually you only go over to the one. But it's a transitional period of years, and cryptocurrency is going to be the same way. Something tells me in 2019 a major bull run will bring back BTC the 20K by July. It's possible. I personally don't think so, but I mean, hey, dude, if it proves, I'd like to be proven wrong. If it does, then we're all in hella money. So, no question, money owns, the U.S. government, not the other way around. Yeah, exactly. So, not too much to talk about over here on Bitcoin. If you guys have any specific questions, I'd love to be able to answer those. But with cryptocurrency, I guess we can just keep doing a little bit of technical analysis. I can even pull up BitMEX, and we can maybe even do some. Am I allowed to say that? BitMEX live trades. I'll do some leveraged live trades. Let's pull this out. Let's see our indicators and oscillators. Yeah, I mean, your 1 hour MACD is rounding off. Because you had this playing out, and now it's rounding off, and now you're starting to point towards the upside again. I think it's not going to be I don't think you're going to get that much of a bounce at all from this. I don't expect it to. You know, this actually is looking pretty bearish for the most part right now. But I say that, and I mean, it's the 1 hour. I don't really use the 1 hour, but we'll see. So candle body closing over here, confirmed double top on your 1 hour. We'll have to see how this plays out. It's a very sloppy double top, if I do say so myself. Because although it double top, look at that wick showing, hey. Because here's the problem with this double top, is that you have so much support in this area. Learning TA, guys, this is support. Look at all these candle body closings. Look at this green line. It's showing, hey, like, this is a ton of support. So when it's trying to break down over here, it has to bust through all this, and then all of this, and then all of this, and all of this, and then you go even further, and like, there's just more of it. So there's a ton of support in this area. Is it going to be able to break down? You know, look, we're going to find out here, but okay, so let's go ahead and this will be a separate video too. There's plenty of videos I want to make. There's so many videos I want to make for prediction videos and all that. But you guys will get to see a sneak peek of it at this point. So this will essentially be what the video is about in a couple of days when we're actually making this video. If you guys are new, by the way, anyone who's new and tuned in here, welcome. My name is the Crypto Analyst, otherwise known as Brendan. My pleasure to be with you guys here tonight. But let's draw a parallel channel. So what do I think is going to happen? I think this is going to be a heavy resistance. The same double top here. This is on a 1-day chart, all right? 1-day chart Coinbase. Essentially, this is the 2019 prediction in a nutshell. This descending triangle that you had up here, resistance now. 2019 is mostly going to be below this. And this is what it's going to look like. Maybe move up this range a little bit. But for the most part, maybe some, I mean, 1200 is it's a very possible number. But let's move this to like 2300. This is what I think 2019 is going to look like. You're just bouncing around in here. Not exactly like this, but you guys get the picture. I think you're just going to be bouncing around. Until you're not. And it's not going to be like that. It's not going to be like a moon shoot. But I think 2019 is going to look a lot like this. You're just going to be bouncing around between 2,300 and 6,000. And you're going to be bouncing in this area a lot in 2019. And there's going to be a lot of people that get set up with bear traps over here, and they're going to get stopped out, and it's going to suck. But do you guys remember how hard this was to break this support over here? How hard this area of like $6,000 was to break? It's going to be equally as hard to break as resistance. Equally as hard to break as resistance. So when we're looking at this, you can't, like, it's like a 90% you are going to get rejected when you hit this for the first time. If you just hit this and you break this your first time, like, that's phenomenal. That puts cryptocurrency in an amazing state. This is an absurd amount of resistance. So when you, like, let's just doodle here and say we come down and then we break out and we come up and we hit this, it's probably going to have a pretty hard drop. There's two huge forms of resistance on this chart. This is the second one. Where's the first one? The first one is essentially up in this range. This is a hard range of resistance. So is this line that we've drawn. Again, that's like actually going to be probably one of the hardest lines of resistance. But another one is just this range up here. I mean, it was a brutal range of resistance. So you're going to have this one over here around 11,500 to 11,700. You're going to have this line of resistance down here. It's going to be absolutely brutal. And then you're going to have this one over here from the descending triangle. 3 lines, all going to be hard to break. But, you know, again, they're going to be rewarding. If you do break them, large breakouts. If you get rejected, large breakdowns, bounces, inverse bounce. So that's 2019 in a nutshell for me. And then I think, again, 2020, you're going to start breaking out of this. And I think, and maybe even towards the end of 2019, you're going to start breaking through this. I think you're going to start seeing the consolidation period end. And this is how the markets work. You go from bear market, consolidation market, bull market. And I think that's exactly how this could play out as well. So one thing to take note of. What were you guys saying? If Trump makes crypto mainstream, the younger people will have him reelected in 2020 guaranteed. You'd be surprised. A very small percentage of the population works and likes crypto. Like, I'm in college currently, and I know that because I talk to my friends about it, and very few of them deal with it. A lot of them only know about it because I work with it daily. Yeah, it's like Comedic. I know Comedic Gamer is another college kid. He goes to my college as well. Yeah, exactly. They know about it, but they aren't involved in it. So if it happened, they would just be like, so what does this mean? And that's the problem. And twice as many, statistically speaking, on a survey that was done, young people are twice as active in cryptocurrency as older people. So people, I think it was like 25 and under, are twice as active in cryptocurrency, and they know about it twice as much than people over the age of 25. So in theory, yeah, what you're saying is completely right. Young people are way more supportive of it. Way more, like 2 or 3 times, statistically. But it's still not enough as of right now. You only have a couple percent of the world that knows about crypto, let alone are involved in it. And that's where kind of the overlying factors that are kind of hard about crypto lie, is that you still just don't have enough people that know about it, and even less people that use it. Like, I'm one of the people who works with blockchain every single day, and I work with cryptocurrencies every single day. But I'm in a very small minority. The youngsters are aware of BTC. Yeah, completely agree. A lot of them are. But like, even at my college, like, maybe it's just where I live. Maybe it's just where I go to college. But I ask a lot of people, and they ask what I do and what I like to do with my free time, and I tell them, and they go, what? They go, it's either a response of, so like PayPal or something, or, oh, isn't that Bitcoin thing? And that's usually about the only response I get. Very few times have I ever gotten someone like, oh yes, I know about that. I invested in this and Litecoin, and I remember it when I rode up to 20K, and now it's in a hard bear market. Like, it's hard. Yeah, but they aren't enough to fuel it or realign it at the election. Our generation still hasn't fully bought into it. Yeah, but I think that they're very bullish on it, and that's the great thing. It's like Power to a Chief said, like, the youngsters here are way more supportive of BTC. And like, the more you get of them behind it, they are the people who make the markets. There's way more youngsters. The older people don't drive this stuff. The young people do. The largest like markets right now are for kids. People target kids for a reason. So Bitcoin itself, that's gonna, I mean, there's really not too much else to say about this, but if you guys do have any questions, I'd love to be able to answer those and talk about them. But with technical analysis and all that in itself, we've pretty much covered everything we needed to. How long have we been going for? We've been going for over an hour. And that's something I bring in the people. So, I know what I can do. So this is where, okay guys, so technically the technical analysis stuff is done. I have one more thing to talk about, but it is not related to technical analysis. It's for those of you guys, and let me go ahead and break this down actually. So if you guys did enjoy, do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button. It does mean a lot to me. The likes helped out the video a lot. Comments on the video help that out a lot as well. And subscribing, again, helps out. It gets reoccurring content. If you guys did enjoy this, then hopefully I can see you guys on another stream. I do want to mention the Patreon. I do this at the end of the video because I don't want to, I don't like to be the guy who bring it up and disrupt what you're here for. You're here for the TA. I gave the TA. Now I can talk about the Patreon. So there's your warning. If I know some people get really triggered by this, but I wanted to bring this up. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Well, maybe I can't. It's not letting me show my T. Okay, well, it kind of is. Is this it? Ah, here we go. Perfect. This is what I was looking for. So there's a couple tiers, guys. Oh, wrong button. Couple tiers, guys. $2 supporter. Essentially, every 2 weeks, you guys get to vote on a video. It's $2 a month. Essentially, you get every 2 weeks, you get to vote on a topic. You guys choose the topics. You guys vote on the topics. And then whatever you guys decide on as a community, I will make a video on it. It's pretty simple. Then we have one other form of Patreon is the tier 1 early supporter. There's 2 of these remaining. And these are a bunch of, oh, show more. There we go. Tier 1, basically you guys get my Bitcoin updates. I teach technical analysis in them. I give personal tips. It basically says I give fundamental analysis. And as they come, sometimes I do give like actual trading setups of trades that I take personally and saying, hey, this is where I'm shorting. This is what I'm doing. It's not something I do often. It's not something you should, as I mentioned in here, this is not a trade setup Patreon, but it's something that does happen, you know, from time to time where I say, hey, this is a trade setup I am taking. But again, I give Bitcoin updates, I give technical analysis, I teach technical analysis, I give personal tips. I've had great feedback from it so far, but that's enough of what I'm going to rant about it. And for the most part, yeah, that's going to be it. So I really do appreciate you guys coming in here. What did you say? But all of my leveraging would be only a few dollars. That's the great thing about leveraging, though, is that you can make a few dollars a lot of dollars, right? I mean, you obviously need more than a few dollars, but for leverage trading at least. So I do appreciate all of you guys who have dropped in here, dropped likes, talked in the chat, even just sat and watched silently. You know, there's nothing wrong with that, and I really do appreciate each and every one of you guys that have been in here tonight for the Bitcoin technical analysis and everything else. So it means the world to me, and hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you guys have any other questions, do not be afraid to comment it or email me or ask me in Discord. I'm very active with you guys. And I guess until next time, guys, I will see you guys in the next video.